Sirius. What are we saying when we say Sirius? Okay. Let's explore the word Sirius. Other words that have the same suffix: Aquarius, Sagittarius, Genius, Modius, Bacchus, Ius Pater, which is Jupiter, Ius. All words that end in ius: conscious, contentious, uh, virtuous, and here other words that end in is and us, words that begin with jus, ius, iasus, justice, just. This here is the word Sirius. I'm going to give you 4 examples in history of where this word came from. It's a simplified word of what it used to be. First of all, the suffix, ius. What does it mean? Here in word sense. Ius, Latin. Ios, from Proto-Indo-European ios, suffix, usage, is added to a noun to form an adjective indicating made of or belonging to. Pater plus ius equals patrius, father belonging to the father, paternal. Rex plus ius means belonging to the king or ruler, kingly or royal. Uxor, ius, meaning wife, belonging to the wife. What else? Word hippo. What does ius mean in Latin? Right. Law. Lex. Ius. Jus. Jurisdictio. Jurisdiction. Norma. Jus. Sorbitio. Well, soup. Never mind. Justice. Iustia. Iustius. Iudicum. Justicum. Justum. Broth. Decree. Decretum. Consultum, lex, jus, liber, lex, jus, jus, ordinance, jus, edictum, mos, principle, principium, ratio, formula, origio, jus, belonging to, sir. Here's languageandlaw.eu. Make it a little more tolerable. Abstract. The English language of the law is marked by an absence. For centuries, the words different cultures use for law have had a dyadic nature, consisting of both lex and ius. Lex encompasses imposed law, and ius, cultural norms and principles of justice. English, however, separates the idea of lex and ius into the words law and rights. So he's basically saying lex is imposed law, ius is cultural norms and principles of justice. And English, basically, ius means rights, as we saw here. What does ius mean in Latin? Right. So Sirius falls at the 20 degrees, at 20 degrees Gemini, right where the second grouping of the 12 zodiac signs ends and the third one begins. Right where Pisces ends and Aries begins, remember, these here are the 108 points that are the least common multiplier between the sun's, remember, 108 divided by 27 goes into 27 4 times. This is the moon's 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas the 27, this belongs to the sun. Remember, they switched factors. The sun travels in the moon's emotions. whereas the moon travels in the sun's soul path. That's why the moon has more precise influence, whereas in the signs, which is what the sun travels under the moon's emotional state, these are mostly feelings of cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable, cardinal, fixed, mutable. So here it's mutable. So the Sirius exists here, where Pisces mutable and Aries cardinal is under the emotion of mutable Earth, which is the Earth. Nothing past the sky, nothing encompassing space. It's all from the ground to the sky here. This is the emotional domain that Sirius exists under. So its sense of power, its sense of Aries, is under the influence of the Earth only. In the emotional acceptance of the Earth. Nothing to do with space. Space is here, and space is here, but not here. So I'm going to go through history a little bit and go through one god of the Etruscans, Suri. Suri, Latinized as Soranus. Remember, Soranus was an ancient Etruscan infernal, volcanic, and solar fire god, also venerated by other Italic peoples, among them Capanatis, Faliscans, Latins, and Sabines. Sabines, very important. I'll get to them shortly. And later adopted into ancient Roman religion. He was variously depicted as a crowned young man wielding a spear or bow and arrows, an enthroned black-bearded man with a wolf-skin cap or wolf-like appearance, or even a winged humanoid monster, usually wielding a sledgehammer or a sword. Suri. Remember, Sirius, belonging to Sur, an Etruscan infernal, volcanic, and solar fire god. Wikipedia, Suri. Suri was essentially a chthonic solar deity, the volcanic fire god of light and darkness, lord of the sun and of the underworld. Underworld just means when the star disappears from sight under the earth. That's all that means. But again, wolf-like appearance. Some images. Here's the wolf. Wolf mythology. Allied term was Suri, Etruscan. Wolf mythology. Wolf. You can see the wolf here. Wolf. Romulus and Remus. A wolf. Wolf mythology. Wolf. All right. The Etruscans venerated this god of the underworld, this wolf. Now, the Etruscans are important because we use an Etruscan god's name every day in modern times. We venerate Vatica. Rome also took Suri in as well, just as the Norse took him as Sutor. Sutor, this is the horned man, the horned goat man, which is Capricorn and Aquarius together. And the Norse also took Suri in as Sutor, the fire god. Again, Sutor, Eos. belonging to suitor. Okay, of Norse mythology. So, a negative association, this is a negative association of Surya, the Sanskrit Surya. Etruscans navigated the seas at night. As Etruscans, Phoenicians, Minoans, they all navigated the seas for commerce at night, venerating darkness in order to go from place to place, selling their wares, while their transactions in commerce proceeded during the day. But these people are light sensitive. They work well in darkness. They venerated the darkness and the night. These people worked at night, and this is why the Hebrews start their day 6 p.m. They start their day at 6 p.m., whereas daylight people start their day at 6 a.m. So they created an inner irreverence of the sun as evil. And because they moved at night, they saw opportunity of going far out, of using the stars, going far out towards North America and South America, which they called, with the plumed serpent, Amaru, Kukulkan, Quetzalcoatl, and I'm missing some names, but you get the point. Daylight was only good for counting money and showcasing wealth. That's what light was for, showcasing wealth. But it hurt their eyes. The sun was venerated by other cultures, but they saw it as caustic. We see the sun as divine will and soul, but they saw the stars as devices to question divine will. This is the perversion and misuse of Sirius. It's where it comes from. The Sabine priests. The Sabines. Why am I going after the Sabines? Who are the Sabines? The Sabines, seen here. Rome, Latins, Etruscans. Okay, remember, this is where Rome, all this was where Rome had, they took in the deity Vatica and created the Vatican system out of it, which is an underworld system. Sabines were right next to them, same as the Etruscans and the Latins. Okay, these people did not disappear. They didn't begin anything either. They inherited their systems and they continued them forward into today's times. This is just what they call themselves at this time. And they had priests, and these priests worshipped Suri under the name Soranus, Lord of Death. This is Suri, Soranus, an ancient deity worshipped in Italy before the arrival of the Romans, venerated by the Etruscans, Sabines, and Falisci, as well as other local tribes. Relatively little is known about him. Soranus was an underworld deity associated with death. His priests were known as the Hirpi Sorani, or Wolves of Soranus. Wolves of Soranus. Hirpi, Etruscan. Hirpi, the wolf cults of central Italy. Wolf myths in ancient Rome and Italy. The combined rites practices by the cult of the Hirpi Sorani, she-wolves, Gothic she-wolves, and the symbols of the allied cities. She-wolves. Remember, Sirius is a female. Remember, Ardra Nakshatra is associated with a female dog in ancient Vedic.